When I was a child, when Simcha, the character, was a child, she was a very restless and hyperactive girl. She used to run from one place to the other, and very soon she found out she could do somersaults and wheels and everything. She was very, very flexible and strong. And she wasn't restless because she was looking for something to quiet her mind. Her restlessness was the quietness of the mind, because she found this movement to be the most quiet place in the world. She used to forget herself through the movement. Very extreme forms in which the body can move. And because she was talented in this way of moving, she became quietness when she moved. So she moved all the time, and still she does. Now I cannot do a somersault like in the grass, just run and do it, because the body is not trained to do that. But the restlessness of the movement of the character stayed. This is its nature, the movement. So meditation was never something that spoke to her, to Simcha. She couldn't understand why sitting still and just trying to force your body not to move is good for her. How can it do something? How can it quiet the mind when clearly all the mind wants is the quiet of the movement? So she never connected to this place, though she saw people try that. And she did. She sat with people just to see what it's like, and she didn't like it. And when she understood what she is, this moment of self-realization, of knowing herself, it was through a movement of a car, yes, but it reinforced what she knew all along, that quietness is not in stillness of the body. Quietness is stillness. Emptiness is unmoving, unchanging. This is the nature of this oneness. It is very, very still. It doesn't move, but the character does. And it is not logical for the character not to move. For it not to move is a great, great noise that comes directly to the mind, and this artificial attempt to reach this quietness in the mind by stilling the body and concentrating on the mind is devastating, because everything just flows into the mind, and then you have to process it in your mind. You have no escape. Meditation locks you in frozen, unhealthy way. And I'm talking about, of course, these kinds of meditation. I'm aware that there are many kinds of meditations. You can try and walk and meditate, and people say that everything you do is meditation. And so you try in your mind to do the things and quiet the mind and meditate through doing that, through looking at what you do. These are kinds of meditations. The basic problem with both kinds of meditation, the ones that you sit still and you close your eyes and you just dig inside your brain and try to find the quietness there, like it's there somewhere. And if you close your eyes and look at it and dig enough, deep enough, you will find it. And the other kind of meditation, when you walk and you contemplate about your next step, what is my next step? Both attempts will not quiet the mind, will not connect you to this state. This state is pure aliveness. Pure aliveness of the nothingness. Nothing is alive. Which is a paradox, but this is how it's built. So it has to have a reason. It has to have a reason for the meditation to occur. And it cannot be induced by deciding that now you are aware of what you do. Because the moment you decided that you will be aware of what you are doing, you split yourself to the one who is deciding and the one who is doing, and the one who has decided to look at the one who is doing is sometimes pleased with what he sees, and sometimes he said, no, you are not concentrated enough, look at this next step carefully. And so there is no possibility of real connection to this thing, because the mind plays with itself another game, just another game. I know that I go against, you know, this spiritual way that claims that there are people who reach this self-realization through meditation or practice. But I just offer my words to this thing, to myself, to you, and say this is impossible. It's not possible to know who you are through meditation or practice, through looking or being aware of what you do while you do it. Those two kinds of meditations, one of them I don't understand at all, the one in which you just sit and listen to the birds and you connect to this quietness. I cannot see how, for an average someone who is identifying with the character, this thing can be helpful. If not the other way around, it cannot be helpful. It can really, really annoy him and really make him judge himself because he's not successful and he doesn't feel enough quietness, or nothing happens, or he does feel something and then it goes away. Or did I feel this quietness, or what was this feeling that came over me and now I don't have it just because I concentrated. And it's like taking a break from your busy schedule and just taking it for yourself and indulging yourself. But it is only self-indulgement, meditation. It's like eating something nice or that you like, and indulging the body, indulging the mind. It is not something that has a true meaning, that stands in itself. It is so warped because true existence of this state is a very meditative state, because everything you do is this aliveness and quietness and stillness. It is this state. You do. I cannot say feel, because no one feels it, but it is a very meditative and calm and quiet and still and blissful state. But this is the state. You cannot reach this state by trying to tame your mind into becoming this state, by quieting it by force, forcing it to be quiet, forcing it to look at something and look at it in a way that you appreciate it more, or concentrate on the flame. It is the other way around. If you are this state, this is what happens. Everything you do is aware, is quiet, is blissful, is still. This is really the state. And so meditation or practices, they took the natural state. And it is true that this is its nature. And they say, okay, if this is the state, let's see how we get there. How, oh, okay, so in order for us to be very still and quiet, we should sit quietly and try to be still. Or if we want everything to do to be very aware and live, we should pay attention to what we do. And it cannot be done. It is nice. I know. And I know I go against many people who watch my videos, and it may cause some kind of a confusion, because I truly respect any way a person helps himself or believes, or the way he walks. This is right, to try and find out what is good for him. So, of course, meditation is one way, and there are groups and beliefs and people who just practice it in great devotion. I respect that, really. It is beautiful. It is a way of expressing the search. But if my bluntness, my directness, as you mentioned sometimes, because when I talk, I don't feel very direct, but I cannot but say that these kinds of practices aren't helpful for the true seeker of the state. They will never lead him to this state. The state, this being, is moving automatically and acting. We did not come to this world to watch it pass by us and concentrate on ourselves and how do we feel and how do we quiet our minds and see the world. We came to this place to just go crazy, go wild, to move in it in such a way that will make a difference inside it. We came to change it. We came to influence the world. This is why we are here, to express ourselves so everything around us is inflicted by our expression. And we only can do that if we move, if we care, not about us and our way of seeing things and how do we quiet our minds and how do we progress in our spiritual quest. Who are we? Why are we clinging to this separate form? Why take all this power and concentrate it on something like the separate form? And it's so futile. It doesn't influence anything. It's very egoistic. And it will never give the separate form, the character, what it wants, because it's concentrating on the wrong thing, instead of just looking around it, the separate form, and moving through the separate forms that surround the character in such a way that influences it, in such a way that is beneficial, in such a way that is alive, that is creative, that does something. This thing, this state, is the opposite of boring. It is not boring. It has no dull moment. Nothing is boring in this state. And I cannot think of something more boring than sitting and contemplating in an attempt to sit in a meditation and to try to connect to something beyond the mind, and just looking at our thoughts as if they were clouds or something like that, or imagining things. When people do that, when they sit in meditation and they try to get to this quietness, it is boring for this thing. Nothing happens. It's not alive. And the only thing this thing wants is aliveness, expression. It doesn't want you to force yourself into realizing it by quieting the mind or by looking at what you do. It wants you to do what you do. If you wash the dishes, it doesn't want you to look at the way you wash the dishes. It wants you to really wash the dishes and just do that. And by looking at how you wash the dishes, or by paying attention to how you do that, when you look, you kill the moment of just washing the dishes, of just being. And true meditation, this state is true meditation. It's just being without the middleman, which is the separate form. And the separate form's attempts to just be. When she tries to just be artificially, she cannot do that. The answer is so simple, how to do that. And yet it is you cannot grasp it, because I say, skip the middleman and just do what you do. Just jump, dive into the moment when you do the dishes. Just do the dishes. Don't think about something else, like, here now I'm doing the dishes. And if you think about something else while doing the dishes, it is also okay. This is what you were supposed to think about while you were doing the dishes. This was your moment. You created it like that. Thoughts are not the enemy. We should not drive them out with a stick. They are not connected to this state. Thoughts. We have to look at them until they vanish. Thoughts are also part of this thing. One expression, they belong to us. They are natural. They don't belong to us. They are just an expression inside a separate form, and we don't need to drive them away. We can just be what we are in the moment that we are. Do what we do. Allow ourselves to think and feel what we feel in the exact moment that we feel it. Again, I know how deeply rooted meditation is in the spiritual world, and specifically in the quest after enlightenment, self-realization. And I know that what I'm saying may disappoint you in the personal level, because you are a great believer in this method. I cannot but say these things, and you are so free to take what you want from what I say and do with it whatever you feel like. You can dismiss it, you can say I'm wrong, you can think about it and then say I'm wrong, because people who meditate, they get addicted to meditation. It is an addiction. It gives so much comfort, and it has its benefits. I can see why it is a great, great comfort for people to meditate. I am not here speaking these words to make things easy and knowable and acceptable. I'm here to say what needs to be said in this illusion of a world, that these words are heard, taken, not taken. Doesn't matter what happens with these words. They are not being said anyway. No one is listening in anyway. But these are the words. This addiction prevents the character from really diving in the moment. It gives the character an excuse. And it's like he's saying, okay, I'm fine. I'm doing something for my spiritual development and growth. And then you hang into this false pretend of development. You believe that you are growing and developing, and you will reach sometimes your end, and you don't care. I don't think you really care. Because if you really cared about knowing yourself, you would not run away from yourself to any kind of prize and method and belief. You would confront yourself without these crutches that don't allow you to run. It's not crutches, it's like something that ties you down, like a straight jacket, like for the crazy people. It ties you down like this. You're not free. It is just one of the numerous, countless ways this illusion maintains itself. The beautiful, sneaky games of the mind that convinced you that you are making a progress and you are doing the right thing, and it complements the ego that you are doing the right things. Everyone is doing that. There are many religions that support this theory, and so it must be true. Is it true for you? Are you really moving forward, or are you just becoming more and more numb in your state? You can be a professional meditator, and reach heights of quietness and really enjoy it and teach others. You stay inside the jail of the mind, you stay inside your own jail, and now you just put some sofa and pretty furniture inside this jail, and you sit comfortably, and you convince yourself that everything is so beautiful. This is how I will reach this state. But you will not. You will not reach self-realization or enlightenment through any kind of meditation or practice. I am sorry, really, to say these things, but these things need to be said somehow by someone, and this state who knew itself through acting in the real world, through not just thinking about doing things, by doing it, really giving itself to others by acting, moving the body, caring, not concentrating on yourself and your mind and quieting the ego, just looking at others and doing for others and for the world and moving and making an effort, a real physical effort, mental effort, living this thing, not meditating on it.
Nothing good, nothing bad, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing stillborn or lost, nothing further than proof, nothing wilder than you, nothing older than time, nothing